We have the pleasure of being joined today by Kevin Callister, Viking Dad from Ben Studios as well. We're going to be talking about his VP. We're going to run through our questions and community questions. Just a little note for everybody listening is that we're not going to be discussing any ongoing works that Ben are carrying out on new IPs or talking about potential sequels or anything about this. This interview is firmly about Kevin, his VP, his journey to where he's now with the community manager, and just finding out a bit more about Kevin. So if you've got any Days Gone 2 related questions or new IP questions, unfortunately, you're not going to get any new information on here today. So now we've got that out of the way. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing well. It's the weekend, so enjoying it. How about yourself?
Oh, good. As I said just now, little ones are teasing us with maybe going to be ill, so we're having fun and games so far. So it's nice to come and do this and get away from it.
Nice.
So let's crack straight into it. So after a career in customer service for XPO and Mapai, you landed your dream role as community manager for Ben Studios in 2021. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard how this amazing opportunity came about. You've talked about it in other interviews, but can you just give us a little brief recap for those that haven't heard and haven't been privy to the story, just how it came about?
Yeah. It's been a wild ride, let's say that. What's the funny thing is, I didn't even like social media before.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be on it. Didn't really care about it. But Days Gone released. I just started sharing a couple shots on Twitter here, X, whatever the hell you call it now.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it just kind of, I fell in love with the game, fell in love with sharing content creation, and the photo mode shots kind of evolved into a blog, which then evolved into, getting interviews from the actors from Days Gone and developers from the studio, which then evolved into like a Days Gone week anniversary, which was kind of, I feel like the thing that kind of like, oh, maybe this guy, put him on the map a little bit.
Yeah.
Started networking with a lot of, content creators, Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, and kind of helped me, get some things out like that. And yeah, after a while, just kept humping away at that. Just I did it out of pure passion. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting to ever land a role. I mean, I obviously would have loved to, but it was not the. It's kind of like because I was working full time customer service, terrible job by the way.
Yeah.
Working
Definitely.
and then doing full time in my bachelor's degree, which I ended up with a bachelor's degree in computer network security, and then I was doing my Days Gone stuff on the side. And then yeah, got the opportunity. They reached out, and yeah, I guess you could say the rest is kind of history.
Wow, that is literally amazing. And so we've had a message from Ikram on the community. What was your first reaction when they said they wanted to hire you? You said they approached you? Did they just drop you an email, give you a call, saying, "Hey, Kevin, come work for us"?
Yeah, I was reached out by a couple people from the studio, let me know about the position and things like that. Um, it was kind of a waiting game for a while for myself, and then the longer it became, the more I'm like, I'm probably not going to get this. And then kind of the timing hit right. Days Gone PC was coming, and then uh, landed my interview. After the interview, all I could think about was like, did I screw it up or not? But I didn't apparently. And then I got the call one day when I was walking into my job at the warehouse, and I saw it was the recruiter from the studio. I saw it pop up on my phone, and I just told my coworkers, I'm like, I'll be back. So I just ran outside, took the call, and she's like, "Yeah, we're excited to offer you the job." Did I cry? Yes, I cried. I cried like a baby.
Why
But
not? Eh?
no, it was an awesome feeling. Immediately called my wife, told her, Came back in. I told everyone, I'm like, I'm leaving, guys.
Did you do a little bit of a mic drop? You walked in like,
Yeah,
by the
I'm
way.
like, I'm not staying for 8 hours here. All right, I'll be back tomorrow, but let me just go home and celebrate a little bit. And they completely understood and everything. So, yeah, it was just a very, very surreal feeling.
Definitely, and you've had to move for your job. So was there any part of you with a kind of like have any second thoughts, have to think about moving for work? I know Uko on Twitter's asked that question. Was there any part of you that thought, do I need to think about this? It's relocating.
No, not at all. Honestly, I was where we were located outside of Washington D.C. Just not my type of living. Very commercial, a lot of interstate highways. It would take you 3 hours to get anywhere. Um, just very busy all the time. People are always in a rush. Just didn't like it. So that was one of the questions in my interview. I was like, "Are you willing to relocate?" I'm like, "Yeah, that looks like my type of living. I love doing outside things. Looks like a great area to raise a family." So yeah, the only thing I had like doubts was like logistical reasons of like, I worked at a warehouse, so I wasn't making much money. So I'm like, how the hell am I going to move across the country? But
Yeah, yeah.
luckily Sony provides a pretty nice relocation package to help me do that.
And that's really, and plus you've obviously spent a lot of time in the world of Days Gone, so you kind of knew where you were going anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I knew that map like the back of my hand.
And did it take, did you, and Shinobi's asked, did it take time for your family to adjust to the new life? Because obviously it's quite a big thing to up and move. Obviously your family was supportive when you got the role. Was there a bit of adjustment or did you just slip straight into it?
Um, we did pretty well. The only thing is, like, yeah, we don't have family out here, so that was the big thing. So a little difficult for me and my wife to go out and do some things every now and then for babysitter reasons. But other than that, like we adjusted pretty well. We really like it out here. My kids love it. Yeah, it's like I said, it's really just honestly a great place for families. Like Bend has like a brewery on every corner, and but you go to these breweries and it's just a bunch of families and their dogs, sitting out eating a burger, drinking a beer or two. It's just very relaxed and just very friendly environment.
Yeah, everybody's in too much of a rush nowadays, aren't they? Just need to
Yes.
chill out and just live easy, live your life.
Yeah. Right.
Cool. That's really cool. So do you obviously you've worked hard to network, get those contacts. You obviously have the offer, you got the job. What is there any advice or tips you can give to anyone who's looking to maybe follow suit? And a lot of VPs are in it just to take pictures, some are in it to pursue a career. Is there anything that you would say to people with aspirations of having a career in the games industry? Any tips or anything you would give them?
Yeah. Definitely figure out what you wanted to do in the industry. There's sometimes we were at GDC in March, and there's a lot of aspiring students that wanted to get into the industry, but they didn't really know what they wanted to get into the industry. Like they want to get into the game industry, right? But that was really about it. Kind of narrow it down. Like, do you want to do design? Do you want to do programming? Do you want to do animation or community? Right? Once you figure that out, then you can kind of start figuring out what you want to do with that. And so, speaking on personal experience with community, I just really liked engaging with everyone else. I loved sharing the common interest. And it's kind of cliche, but like passion is a huge trait in the gaming industry to have. Um, so if you take that and you can kind of use that as your crutch. And there's certain things like if you can network and ask devs politely, but never be afraid to ask of like, so say you're writing a blog, never be afraid to reach out and be like, hey, would you be interested in doing a quick little interview or something? That's exactly what I did, and these people said yes for some reason. So it's like the worst that can happen is they're going to ignore you or they're going to say no. But it just never really hurts to ask. Get feedback is another thing. uh,
And
just
like I said,
kind of
sorry, I was going to say, like you said, you don't know until you ask. Because everybody is so friendly. You can see it. There's a lot more. Um, developer presence on Twitter/X, whatever we're calling it now, whatever role there is. And everybody I have personally spoken to has been more than happy to speak about their jobs or any advice or anything like that. And I think sometimes people are scared of that rejection, like you said, but if you want to ask, if you want to engage, try. You've lost nothing if they don't come back to you.
Exactly.
Definitely. I completely agree with you on that one. So Bran asked that question on Twitter as well. So you've been in the role now for over 2 years. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the role entails? Obviously, community manager to do with the community surrounding the game. What does that role entail? What's the daily things that a community manager has to do?
Yeah. It's definitely been the fastest 2 years of my life. That's for sure. Does not feel like I've been here for over 2 years already. Yeah. So my role, I mean, every studio is different depending on structure, depending on team size. I am the sole community manager at our studio. I also get my hands in a lot of things. For me, like, I guess the common misconception for community managers, I would say, is people think they live on social media all day. Um, I would say I'm on social media 10% of my day. Um, Other things I work with marketing on a bunch of stuff. I work with legal, PR. Um, I've I design graphics. I take photo mode shots for marketing purposes sometimes.
And
Uh,
is that all stuff that you've learned while doing the role, or did you have some experience of those things beforehand?
um, a lot of it I've learned over these past 2 years. Like, honestly, year two being at the studio, I am in a so much more comfortable spot than being year one, just because Ben Studio was my first job in the industry, right? And it's a AAA studio and PlayStation studio. It's a little intimidating when I first came in, but I've gotten a lot more comfortable in year two, and you know, just kind of, I guess when you're in it so long and you're doing all these things, you just the experience just really helps.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to do some really good things because you've done a live stream Q&A with Sam Whitwer, didn't you? What was your reaction when
Yes.
you found out you'd be doing that? That was from
Uh,
Virtuous Sports.
yes, that was actually that came from me. I was the one that kind of reached out to Sam and like, hey, would you be open to doing this for the Days Gone anniversary? And Sam, being as awesome as he is, he's like, yeah, for sure, let's do it. Um, I mean, every actor I've talked to from Days Gone, when it's Jim Peary, Boozer, Nishi, who played Ricky, they're all just so friendly. It's like it's kind of amazing how friendly they are. And Sam was like no hesitation. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And it was kind of fun fact where we actually had it planned for that February, and then I got COVID, so I had to readjust, and it was a killer because I'm like, Sam, I'm so sorry, I just got COVID. Can we move this? And I'm like, of course. The one time I got him on here, we have to move it, but it all worked out because it lined up with the anniversary and things.
And were you a little bit like a little schoolboy when you like met him and met the actors for the first time? So obviously you've played the game, you've interacted with the characters.
Yeah, yeah. We jumped on a face call and was talking. I'm like, Kevin, keep it cool, keep it professional, all right? But at the end, be like, hey Sam, just want to know, I love you in Days Gone. Did I say I love you? No, I didn't say that. That'd be creepy.
Oh dear. And do you keep in touch with him?
Yeah, I've talked to him afterwards. He's also been in a few additional things. Callisto Protocol, one of them. Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores, which
That
uh
was a surprise, wasn't it? That one.
didn't see it coming. No.
I like the way they tried to disguise him with a moustache as well.
Oh, it was fantastic.
It's all straight through it.
Yep.
So it's obviously been a whirlwind for you over the past couple of years. You've achieved a lot. What stands out as your proudest moment or achievement while working for Ben so far?
um, that's a good one. I mean, launching Days Gone on PC was just super cool. It was like a almost like a circle of life type thing, right? Like Days Gone is kind of the reason I got noticed and got to Ben Studio, and then being able to be on the team and help launch it on a whole nother platform and opening it up to so many more players in the world was just incredible. So, it's kind of like I got hired and hit the ground running to where it's like, all right, let's focus on the PC launch. So I was getting a ton of photo mode shots ready for marketing, getting a lot of, strategic planning. Okay. Certain beats, when's the pre-orders or the wish list happening, getting the trailers ready for launch, um, doing things post launch, support, gathering feedback from the community, what maybe is there any PC bugs that we need to focus on, um, doing like the Days Gone behind the scenes video series that we tied into post launch of the PC launch. So it's like that was kind of the main highlight, and then later on it was patched in and I got into the credits, which was super cool, because I wasn't expecting myself to see my name in the credits until our next game, but
That is
that,
so cool.
that was awesome. And then another thing would probably be this year's our 30th anniversary, and having two new merchandise for Ben Studio. We haven't been on the PlayStation Gear Store for a while, so getting us on there with a Ben Studio category, doing the poster and the T-shirt was just something that was like kind of like my own personal project that I always wanted to do, and then luckily with like the support from leadership at the studio, and we were able to execute on it, and now we have this awesome merch that people can get, and it's really cool seeing people share their shots of like wearing their T-shirt or something.
Yeah, because I see you posted the other day. There's not a lot of sizes left on the PlayStation
No,
Store.
no, there's not. There's only a few left, so good sign.
So if you haven't got one so far, head on over,
Yeah.
place your order.
Yep. Exactly.
But yeah, the thing that I notice, especially with yourself and specifically with Bend, is although the social media percentage of time for your job is probably the minimal percentage, is your engagement with the community just makes that 10% seem like 110. If that makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of my things coming into the studio was to make sure we're engaging with the community on a almost daily basis to make sure we're humanizing us behind the logo. I think it's very important to show people we're more than game developers. Like, yeah, we have this really cool freaking job where we make games, but we also do a lot of really other cool things. We do a lot of studio outreach at Bend, where we bring in local high schools, students who are interested in game design. We give them a tour of the studio. We send some of our developers to their schools, and they there's like panels where they'll ask questions and our developers will give them answers. And there was like a Shark Tank type thing where
Yeah,
the class was doing a game design project, and our developers went back to their school and was like investing in which project they want to do. It was really cool. So it's like it's that type of stuff that I find exciting. And as a fan prior to Bend, like as a virtual photographer, right, you just kind of, or any content creator, you want to be seen, right? Like
yeah,
sometimes, your work, it takes a long time. If you're making an art piece, it's going to take you days, weeks, months. If you're making a photo mode shot, sometimes we're sitting in that one photo mode shot for a good half hour, right?
yeah.
It's acknowledging that from the brand accounts, I think is very important, and making sure like, hey, we do see your really awesome work, and if that's a simple like or a comment or a retweet or something like that, then it shows like, hey, yes, keep up the good work. It's awesome stuff.
Definitely, and I think, like you said earlier, what you can see with Bend is whether it's yourself or whether it's other people who get involved on social media as well. It's you can see the passion,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and you recognise the passion in the players playing your game, which is even more invaluable.
Right.
It definitely shines through. So everybody at the studio, from the outside looking in, we can see how passionate you are about your brand and your games and your community. So definitely, pass that on to everybody. It's clearly visible. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And it's honestly, it's just really humbling seeing. I mean, Days Gone. It's 4 years old now, right? We put it on PC 2 years ago, but we still see daily shots every day. And actually, we have a community Slack channel that I created, and in there, I will share some of your shots for the around the community and show the team. You may not know it, but some of your shots are being shared internally.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That is really good. You have to tell us which ones they are. We'll get really big egos then. We're like, oh yeah, look, they've been
Yeah.
sharing my stuff. No, but it's nice that you do that. It's nice that obviously you're seeing that stuff and you're sharing it around. I know speaking to Matt at Respawn, they do the same. But it's really good to see that
Yep.
engagement, to recognize those pieces and share it with everybody else. Because not everybody's social media based, not everybody at Bend is going to be social media based. So to share that with them as well, that's such a big compliment to obviously the people taking the pictures.
Exactly. That's the big thing. Is like I'm on social media because one, it's part of my job, right? So I'm on a lot, but we have a lot of people who aren't on or are heads down and they're working. So giving them that break and letting them see the some of the beauty of virtual photography or like fan art, things like that. And like I've created threads in a Slack channel where it's like just multiple content creator shots, and they're going through it, and they feel it motivates them as well because seeing everyone's shots, it's like, man, this is awesome. And sometimes I'll get the comments of like, this is exactly why we're in video games. So it's like it's just as cool for us to see the shots as it is like for one of your shots to like get shared or something.
Yeah. Oh no, that's absolutely brilliant. I love it. Love it. And that's the thing. I mean, it's probably good that some people aren't on social media because you know what virtual photographers are like. We'll tag anyone.
Yeah.
If they've got Bend in their bio, they're getting tagged.
Yep.
But like you said, it's the way to get noticed as well. So obviously nothing wrong with doing that. I do it all the time. So your Days Gone blog, we've touched on the Broken Road. So it's a love letter to the game and its community. What sparked its beginning, and will you ever revisit it?
That's a good question. It's I actually was on it not too long ago, just kind of looking it over and going back through the memories. Honestly, I'm like, man, I do miss the personal content creation, um, like that, because that was really fun. That was kind of like what I did in my spare time. But now, obviously, like everything's just focused on the studio and work at my job. So it's like, yeah, that definitely took a back seat. Um, that's something where I probably won't, honestly. It's still there. It's not really going to go anywhere. Um, for so people can go and look at it and go through all the shots and the fan art and things like that. But yeah, it's like now, it's my job is so many different things at the studio to where once I'm done with that, my content creation personally is more of just like photo mode shots at night, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, probably not, because my ideas now is like, yeah, strictly for the studio.
Yeah, and it's almost nice to kind of leave it as your legacy, isn't it? It's what helped you get where you are. You have your passion in it, but to leave it there for everybody to look at. 'Cause what
Yeah,
it's like sometimes people revisit stuff, rehash it, and it's not the same. It's never going to be the same. So it's almost sometimes maybe better, like you said, to this is my love letter. This is my love letter to game, and I'm going to leave it there for you to enjoy.
yeah, it definitely has some good memories tied into it. That's for sure.
So if any listeners haven't checked it out, definitely check out the Broken Road Days Gone blog. Google it, you'll find it straight away. It's well worth a look, definitely. So Aaron from Twitter has asked, because you ran another account as well by the looks of it. So do you miss running the Going Viking account and the work you did with the AC First Civ team?
Yeah, I do actually. Like I said, like I do miss that part of the personal content creation. Um, I did have so it was actually a Twitter page I started before I started my personal one. It was just about I'm into Viking Age history, as you can, Viking Dad. That's how I came up with the very generic name.
Yeah.
Um, and at the time, I did create also a little blog for that. It was like I had like book reviews on it, and some articles relating to Viking Age history, but it was never really not too much. I actually did start a podcast too for that. It ran like 3 episodes, but it was fine. Um, and then that kind of transitioned into Assassin's Creed, because when they announced Valhalla, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I can combine games and Vikings into one. And then I started working with the ones who came before, the big Assassin's Creed fan community page, and we were doing some like virtual photography things and things like that. And yeah, it was nice, like finally kind of deviating from Days Gone and going into another game and another and sharing my other passion. But the one thing that came out of that, I don't suggest having more than one page. Like if you want to share multiple things and you're like, you know what, maybe I should create another page, like my tip would be just throw it all on your one page. Make it easy for yourself. People like the diversity. If you want to share all one game and then hey, all of a sudden I want to share another game sometimes, just go ahead and do it. But the 2 pages was like it was fun, but I'm like, yeah, I definitely wasn't a long term, especially once I got the job, because now I run all of Ben Studio social accounts. I can barely keep up with my own.
And it starts to feel more like work, doesn't it? If you try and have your finger in too many things and you're trying to juggle it in your spare time, you've got a day job, it does tend to feel like work, and then you tend to lose a bit of that passion.
Yeah, like I actually feel bad sometimes because I'm not as active on my personal account. Like I'll post things, but like I kind of post on my personal account and bounce out off. I don't scroll as much as I used to. And to that, like that's why I feel bad, because I was always liking, retweeting uh our fellow virtual photographers and stuff. But now I'm like I said, I run all of Ben Studio's social accounts. So by the time I get to mine, I'm just done scrolling. Or if I am, it's like I'm scrolling and I'm like, okay, I see it, I acknowledge it, I see, see what awesome content it is. But maybe it's laziness at this point or exhaustion. I'm not sure, but it's like I don't click on the like button. I'm like, Kevin, why? Why aren't you just clicking on the like button? So if you don't
It's,
see me active or liking your things, I do see it. It's just I've gotten to the point now where it's just so many social platforms, I can barely keep up with my one own.
but it is true though. There's so many, especially how much the VP community's grown. There's so many, VPs. There's so much on the feed, so much to see, and you can. I know you can put lists together on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. But I've got a list of people I want to check in on daily, but
Yep.
I never go off of the main feed because there's
Yeah.
just so much on there, and it does take so much time. But like you said, I think people shouldn't take it personally, whether it's yourself, whether it's anybody else. If you're posting what you love, it doesn't matter if it gets 5 likes, 100 likes. People are seeing it, and you love it. It doesn't matter, does it?
Exactly.
Exactly. So another interesting bit then. So this one's come from TPM editor in chief Jack. He's good with these questions. So he said a few years ago you shared a side by side comparison of locations in Days Gone and their real life counterparts. What was it like seeing those locations in real life, and would it be something you think of doing again with different locations from the game? And it kind of ties in with a question from Eric Leon Allen from Twitter saying, "What is the coolest place you've hiked to that you've visited in Days Gone?"
Yeah. Oh, hi, Jack and Eric. Um, yeah, that was really cool. That was like the first time I saw like an immediate location that came to mind playing the game, right? Like it's on your way to Crater Lake and you go through the town of Tumult, which in Days Gone, you fight a horde at Tumult. And that same place is almost identical to the real life counterpart. It's got the yellow eat sign on the convenience store. It's got the Burger Mart. I would not suggest going to the Burger Mart. It looks kind of sketchy. Maybe they have awesome burgers, but I'm not stepping in there. They have the train, they have the train tracks behind it, and it's just like there's a hotel at the end. It was just like, man, this is crazy, and it was the time where me and my wife flew out here before we moved to look at houses and things, and we were running on East Coast time, so we woke up at like stupid early in the morning, like 4:30, and we're like, you know what? Let's go to Crater Lake today. Let's check it out. Um, So when we got there, we pulled over, and I'm like running across the street taking pictures. People are probably like, "What is with this guy?" Taking pictures of a railroad track. Like, what, what is he doing? Um, so yeah, it was super cool. I always told myself I wanted to do more of that side by side. And I just never got around to it. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Especially like you
Um,
said, you've got so much to do with your actual job. It's finding the time to do these things, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, and it's like now I captured so much in Days Gone, and captured a lot for job purposes too, and for like our PC launch, that I haven't really stepped much into photo mode in Days Gone lately either. So it's like some of those shots I had side by side, like I already had those in my gallery, so like super simple. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to put these together.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I have to say, because I've recently started another playthrough, as you've probably seen. So I've tagged you in every single shot. Um, but I've only recently just kind of experimented with the depth of the photo mode. And I used Sarah's custom filter guide that she posted, which literally is priceless.
Yeah,
Um,
Sarah's great.
that guide, I read through the guide. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to give that a go, and literally, it's changed my outlook on the photo. And I know everybody, when they say what's the gold standard, what's the best photo mode, and everybody always says insomniac, all this sort of stuff. But
Hmm.
after looking at this guide and digging into the advanced settings, my mind has changed. My mind has changed. I don't need lights. Like all the different changes and the slight tweaks. Absolutely brilliant. It's so
Love,
much more in depth, and I think it's very easy to miss if you don't press the X button to go into
yeah,
it.
yeah, I love to hear it because, yeah, I feel like our photo mode is kind of underrated, honestly, because of the advanced settings. So the advanced settings are pretty much an in-game Photoshop, honestly,
Yeah,
with the bloom and all the gamma and things you can use, and it's no other photo mode has all that in this advanced settings like that. I mean, for me personally, yeah, I would love to include a lighting system with that, and maybe a day and night cycle, honestly, and a couple of other things, which I am keeping in mind. But I love our photo mode so much. Every time I jump into it, I'm like, yes, this is so good.
yeah. I've just realised because I'm quite a heavy editor in my pictures, and when I played Days Gone before, because I started when it came out on PC, um, played it on a streaming service, loved it. But I only recently this year got a PS5, so I thought, oh yeah, let's do it again. Let's drop back in. But I was so heavily editing the pictures to get the look I wanted. But now I've discovered that I don't need to do it with the advanced photo mode. Yeah, I can literally do everything that I've got in my head. It's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I didn't answer the other question from Eric. Um, my favorite hike that's been Days Gone related, honestly, probably Crater Lake. Just hiking around there. Um, Crater Lake is just probably the most beautiful nature thing I've ever seen in my life. It literally takes my breath away every time. It's insanity of how pretty it is.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely like to visit sometime. That's the thing. You visit all these places in the games, but never actually visit in real life.
Yeah, right.
Definitely worth a visit. Maybe you should start on the side a little tour guide hustle. Get a bit of extra cash in. You can do little tours for VPs.
Yeah.
Um, so besides Days Gone, we obviously know you love Days Gone. You work for Bend, who obviously made Days Gone. What other games do you enjoy capturing the most?
I really enjoy capturing Red Dead Redemption 2. I felt like I got in the rhythm of figuring out that photo mode, and I was really just enjoying capturing these moody shots, moody cinematic shots from Red Dead. Um, Horizon Forbidden West, just because the game is just so damn beautiful, it doesn't even make sense.
It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
uh, right now, I'm doing a ton of Spider-Man. I have very much. I've learned about myself the past few years. I have ADHD, and I get hyper fixated on things. So if all of a sudden you start seeing like the same game constantly on my feed, that's my next obsession. So right now it's Spider Man. I'm reading the comics. We're watching movies. I'm playing the games. I can't help myself. Um, so like going through Insomniac's photo mode and messing with the lighting system, I'm like, oh man, this is so good. So yeah, those Days Gone, Horizon, Red Dead, Spider Man. Um, I can't really recall what else I've taken pictures of the past year or so, but those
The,
ones immediately
the
come to
Witcher.
my mind.
You've
Oh,
done across your
yeah,
Witcher. Loving your
damn
Witcher
it,
shot.
The Witcher, yeah. And then them adding photo mode in next gen was the greatest thing ever. I was so excited, and yeah, I took so many pictures. I still have so many pictures I haven't even shared. But like, yeah, that one was so much fun.
It was so good, and hopefully now that they've got photo mode in the new From Software game, I'm hoping they then do an update on Elden Ring like they did with The Witcher and just add the photo mode.
Yes, I would
Oh,
love to have a photo mode in Elden Ring. That's for sure.
oh, definitely. So if anybody from Software listens to this at any point, please put your photo mode in Elden Ring. You had it here.
Photo
Um,
mode needs to be in every game. Just saying.
exactly. The thing is, though, I've got into a very big rhythm of only playing games that had photo mode.
Yep.
If it didn't have a photo mode, I wouldn't be interested in it and I wouldn't play it. Um, but I think sometimes playing a game that doesn't have a photo mode is a really good like break or detox that you
It
sometimes don't
is.
really need. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I don't do it very often, but occasionally I will. So we've had some great games out so far this year. What would be your game of the year so far?
Yeah. What a hell of a year for games. That's for sure. And it's not stopping. Um, it comes down to Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Diablo 4. Um, Diablo 4 was very unexpected for me. I was not planning to buy the game at all. Never played a Diablo. And then right before launch, I was just I was getting super intrigued. And I know for myself, I'm like, if I'm that interested, I need to get it. And it started talking to people around the studio, and they were super excited for it. And I've never played an ARPG style. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a go. And I'm so glad I did. This is why I should always try new things, because I've put so many hours into that damn game now, and it's been so much fun. And it's one of the games that doesn't have photo mode, so it was a nice breather of just like playing the game. I could get in, maybe do a few missions, do a half hour, and bounce out. Or at nights I'm staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning because Diablo gives you so many nice breadcrumbs. It's like, oh, just got to do one more thing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, between those two, those have been my favorites this year. And then I'm just gonna put Spider-Man 2 up there now. I haven't even played the game yet, but it's gonna be there.
Oh, it's going to be a busy October. Busy
Yes,
October. So when you do your virtual photography, are you a spontaneous virtual photographer or do you plan what you're going to take?
I used to plan before I joined the studio with like my days gone photos. I always had like an idea, but now it's just spontaneous. It's um, and what I've learned about myself is I load up on photos in the beginning of the game, and then as we get to the latter half of the game, I really stop taking photos because I just kind of want to finish the game. So and then if I might go back, go for another run or something. But yeah, I'm very spontaneous at this point.
Yeah. And are you one of these people who does finish the game, then go into New Game Plus and do it again to get more pictures? Or once you finished it once, are you like, yeah, I'm just going to
It
leave it?
it depends on the game, depends on how invested I am. If I'm super invested in the world and characters and I just want to keep playing the game, yeah, I'll do it again. But if it's like one of those games, uh, like obviously no shade to this game, but like Callisto Protocol, I played the game, I did photo mode, platinum the game on my one playthrough, and I was done. I'm like, yep, I got everything I needed out of this game. I don't need to do anything else. But like maybe with like The Witcher or Red Dead, yeah, I immediately went back in and started taking pictures.
Definitely, definitely. They just beg to be replayed, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
So when you're going into photo mode, irrespective of game, what's your go-to settings? What do you go to first when you're going in the photo mode to set up a shot?
I'm always going in and I immediately start adjusting the FOV and whether I'm tilting this for a portrait view or not, and immediately focusing on my object and messing with the aperture. Those are my immediate things to do. Once I get all that down, then I'll start messing with the colors. I'll start messing with the lighting, and things like that to kind of finalize it.
And do you post edit your shots, or do you just purely use the settings in the in-game PMs?
Sometimes. It depends. Like with Spider-Man right now, with how in depth they're with the lighting system, I'm not really doing much post editing. If anything, it's like maybe messing with the exposure or blacks, just because coming from your TV to your phone looks completely different sometimes.
Yeah,
Um, Days Gone, I had like a set preset in Adobe Lightroom that I used with it. Um, just because I wanted a little bit more gritty, you could say.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it depends on the game and you know what I'm feeling, but like especially with portrait shots, yeah, I'm going to Adobe Lightroom, cropping it, straightening the angles, stuff like that. But kind of like little tweaks. I did catch myself for a while over editing, and I had to lean back on that because I'm like, no, Kevin, don't do this. It wasn't like it made the shot look the same, but it was just like a lot of blacks. Yeah, so like I said, it just depends on the shot and what kind of game it is.
it's a very easy trap to fall into, though, isn't it? Over editing, if you're trying to be a perfectionist about your shot, it's
It
a
really
very
is.
easy trap. But you
There,
might have to share that preset with me. I could use that. I've
there
only
are,
recently, I've literally over the past couple of months after speaking to Saraki VP, learned about presets in Lightroom, and literally it's changed my life.
yeah, it's great, and like now, I just like to I like to capture. I like to make the process as quick as possible. It's like when I share, I'm just so tired of using hashtags and stuff. I'm just like, here's the game. Here's a little caption. There you go. Like,
Yeah.
uh, I always add alt text to everything. And tip for everyone: add alt text. It helps people with limited sight be able to see your also or be able to understand what photo is you're creating.
And does it take you a while to do the alt text? Do you have to think about how descriptive you're being about it? Because I know I've tried to do it a couple of times, and it's a very easy habit to fall out of again. Is
It's I've gotten such a habit because from doing our Ben Studio accounts, mine, and plus like I'm also leading our accessibility efforts on our new game at the studio, so it's just kind of ingrained in myself, and it takes like a minute maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, good tip out there to start putting the alt text on it for everybody. So
Yes.
where as a VP do you draw your inspiration from?
Um, most of the time it's honestly it's the world and the characters. Um, when I played Days Gone, it always was like a love letter to the studio of like this is how much I love the game. I want to represent it as best as possible and show you my angle and my creative choices on a shot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it comes from. Like I will share more of a game I absolutely love than a game that I will play for 15 hours. Sure, I might have enjoyed it. I took some shots, but I'm not necessarily inspired to keep taking shots because maybe it's like maybe it just didn't connect with me. So it's definitely more of how the game, the characters, and the world connect with me during my playthrough.
So yeah, as a developer, that's the ultimate compliment, is it? Isn't it?
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
your inspiration is finding from the world that you have built for us. That is the biggest compliment you can give, isn't it? It's
Yep.
great to get it from there. So we've touched on your game of the year so far, and I know you dropped in Spider-Man 2, even though it's not out yet. And with a full roster of games releasing over the coming months, which titles are you looking forward to playing, capturing the most? We know you're going to go Spider-Man 2. Are there any other ones that are high on your list that are going to make your wallet scream out in pain over the next couple of months?
Yeah, my next one is Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I'm super excited to see this one kind of go back to its roots, and hearing it's like a 20-hour story just made me so happy. I love. We need more smaller games. There's too many big ones. I don't have that much time. Uh, so I'm super excited for Mirage. And their photo mode is honestly a little basic, but it gets the job done.
Exactly, and I think they, from what I've seen, they're going to copy and paste that photo mode over. So I don't think there's going to be any new settings. But like you said, it's basic, but it gets the job done. And I think they shared the map, didn't they, yesterday?
Yeah, they
And,
did.
and it's nice to see that although it may be a large area to play in, the map is just so much more condensed.
Yeah, like I mean, after playing Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, and I put in a lot of hours to all three of those. Valhalla more. Uh, Valhalla was my first Assassin's Creed Platinum, which altogether it's like over 700 collectibles. I don't recommend it.
Oh,
Um,
definitely not.
so
Definitely
I,
not.
I'm super excited for a more condensed version.
Exactly. Just again, you can probably get engrossed more in it because you're not just running around for the hell of it. You know, in Valhalla, if you wanted to get all the viewpoints, you just like sit there while your horse rides to the viewpoint and all that
Yep.
sort of stuff. It's nice to have it more condensed. And I think Odyssey, Odyssey, I think was even worse because you have to get on a boat to go to all the islands.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Sometimes that's a little. It's nice and relaxing at points, but then other times it's like, man, it's taking me a while to get over there.
exactly, exactly. It's so handy once you've unlocked all the fast travel points.
Yes.
So we're going to switch up a bit now. So this is my favourite question in all these interviews. I know it should be VP based, but I love food. So my favourite question is culinary based, and I love hearing everybody's favourite food from around the world of people we speak to. So what's your all time favourite food? What could you eat loads of and never get tired of?
I'm a very basic American, and it would be a cheeseburger. And around here in Bend, like everywhere you go, they have burgers, and it's delicious, and it's also terrible for my health.
But obviously not from that place you mentioned earlier because it looks a bit sketchy.
Yes, but not from the burger mart. Correct.
Oh yeah, no, you can't beat a good cheeseburger.
Yeah,
Oh,
and being here in Bend, we also have the excellent brews, so it's like beer, burger, perfect combination.
oh, nice, simple food. That's what we
Yep.
like. That's what we like. We might have to add you to our food porn group. We, we've got a group that we just send pictures of food to each other and just make ourselves hungry.
That's
It's
awesome.
lovely. It's lovely. Um, so we've had a question from Philip on Twitter. He wants to know, how do you maintain such a glorious and full beard, and can we get your best dad joke?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's having a beard. Some people would say it's lazy, but those are the people that don't have a beard or don't want to make your beard look good, right? Like a beard is a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie. I have the beard wash, the beard conditioner, beard balm, beard oil. I have a bamboo comb and a bristle brush. There's a lot that goes into it. Then you gotta shave and line up the lines and stuff. So it's taken all that, doing that a lot, and yeah, it's a lot of brushing to get it nice and smooth. But
It, it is a good beard.
no, thank you, I appreciate that.
And that also answers Sir Ivan VP's question because he's going to ask what beard product you use, and you've literally given him a full list to
Yep,
look at.
and a good product is Viking Revolution. That's the one I go with. Not, I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm just saying those are good.
See, I'm one of those people who can't. Well, I can grow a full beard, but it tends to start making me look like I'm homeless. It doesn't. It doesn't have a sheen. It doesn't have a particular shape. It just goes in all different directions.
See, that's where the beard balm comes in handy. It gives it nice and shaped for you.
Oh, I'm missing a trick. I'll have to give it a go. Give it a go. And Shinobi from Twitter's got a very simple question: ducks or beavers?
um, I'm going to say ducks just because I know a few people in our studio, particularly our studio head, who went to Oregon. But other than that, I have no say in the matter.
So I'm probably going to sound a bit stupid now. So is that a sports team or is that literally just based on animals?
Yeah, it's it's college. So here in Oregon, it's Oregon State University Beavers, Oregon State Beavers, and then University of Oregon Ducks.
See, it makes more sense to me now.
Yep.
I thought that's a really random question from Shinobi. He normally thinks a lot about his questions, and just to ask if you like ducks or beavers was quite
Yeah.
random.
Should have just threw him a curveball, said like otters.
Definitely. So we've touched on it already. So we know you enjoy a good hike. We see that on your social media. But what other hobbies or interests do you have beside hiking, besides VP? What else floats your boat outside of work?
Yeah, I love being outside. Me and my daughter just went camping a couple weeks ago. Pretty much anything outdoors, I am in. Also, just got my motorcycle license, so that's going to start becoming a big hobby of mine, riding the bike around here. Um, and then yeah, other than that, it's just honestly just spending time with my family, playing with my kids. And then yeah, video games and outdoor stuff is kind of my go tos.
Definitely. And it's hard being a dad gamer, isn't it? 'Cause you get no time.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I sacrifice sleep and I stay up too late because everyone's sleeping, so I can game.
Oh, see, my wife makes me feel guilty if I say, "I'll tell you, you go to sleep. I'm just going to carry on playing." She's like, "Oh, so you don't want to come to bed yet?" She makes me feel guilty. She clearly rules the roost in our house.
I get that.
But that kind of ties into about your motorbike licensing with Uko's question from Twitter. He's saying, how much do you feel, or will you feel like Deke when traveling around the Cascade Mountains on your bike?
You know, playing Days Gone now being in Oregon is like a whole another level of immersion. Like when you're playing Days Gone and you're seeing the mountains that I literally just drove by to get to the studio is wild. Uh, so when I'm out in nature and we're hiking, or specifically when I'm going through some of the many caves we have here, Days Gone is literally on their mind constantly. It's just like it's just ingrained. It's like, oh, this is I know the spot. It's in Days Gone, or a similar spot in Days Gone, or like I said, anytime you enter a cave, that's all I think about. Is like there's a horde waiting for me right here.
I'm scared of caves. I went into a cave last night on my playthrough. I think it was below. Is it Breakneck Ambush Camp? I can't remember which one it is. But there's a cave underneath, and yeah, the horde came running out, and I literally ran in the other direction.
Yeah, that's wise.
I haven't managed to kill a horde yet, so that's on my tick list.
Nice. You'll get there.
I will eventually. So I want to know a little bit more about your media taste as well. So we obviously talked about games. What's your all-time favorite music album? What's your favorite movie?
You know, I've been thinking about this, and my taste in things change so much, and depending on my mood, will just drastically change. I listen to a lot of video game scores. I'm a score person. I love hearing that. Um, I also I will listen to things from like Muse, which is like a alternative rock, I guess, to Queen, to Kendrick Lamar. Like it's I have such a range. I can't like say what my absolute favorite is. I guess one that keeps coming to mind is the album Drones by Muse.
Yeah.
Um, one because it came out like when Batman Arkham Knight was coming out, and they used a Muse song in the trailer. So every time I hear the song, I just think about Batman Arkham Knight, which is awesome. And what was the other question?
What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Also probably I so the Dark Knight was there for the longest time, and then the Batman came out, and I absolutely fell in love with the Batman, and then I put it ahead of the Dark Knight for myself. So I'm gonna say the Batman is one of my favorite movies of all time.
So what about that did put it above The Dark Knight? Because I'm probably the other way round still. What for you put it above it? What made it for you?
I like the dark, gritty tone. I'm a very dark person when it comes to entertainment. I like the dark stuff. I like villains. Um, and the Batman was so beautifully shot. Um, Robert Pattinson, just how he carried himself as Batman was just like, oh, this guy is literally Batman. Um, the kind of like the suit, the moody Gotham. It really felt like the comic book, almost like the Batman Arkham, honestly, style Batman. So yeah, it's more like the tone and the grittiness of it.
I have to say, Robert Pattinson was a surprise. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure going into the movie, but he did play it really well.
same.
Definitely. So I'm just going to put a little announcement there. So anybody who's listening live, we've got a couple more questions. Then we're going to go to live listeners if anybody's got a question they want to ask to Kevin live. So if you do, put in a speak request, and then we'll come to you in a couple of questions time. So we've had a lot of discussion in our interviews about the game that is social media. We've touched on a little bit here. So being that your job as a community manager is not very socially focused because we've established that it's a small percentage, but do you employ any tips or tricks? I'll say that again. Do you employ any tips or tricks when you post, certain times of day, certain hashtags, media content? Do you structure it or is it just random?
So you're saying for virtual photographers to
Um,
post?
Probably both. So probably from say a VP perspective and also from Ben's perspective. So
Okay.
I'm guessing from Ben, there's more of a plan around what's posted on social media. Then from your personal account, it's probably a different
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. From the Ben perspective, you may have noticed where like last year, no, well, yeah, last year it was more minimal sharing of Days Gone shots compared to the year before, because the year before was a lot of uh, things around Days Gone PC launch. Um, Now this year, since it's our 30th anniversary, able to capitalize on that some more and able to share a lot more Days Gone shots. What we're doing this year is, players are able to put the hashtag Ben30 to celebrate the anniversary, and I'm using that a lot for content creation and going through that specific hashtag to see. Um, for time of day, from the Ben perspective, it doesn't really matter. Like, I can be on the Ben Studio account in the morning. I can be on at noon. Sometimes I'm on at freaking midnight for some reason. Like, so the timing doesn't really matter. Most of the time, unless Twitter is being dumb, I'm able to catch pretty much everything. Um, and then when you're structuring your shots, things that I'm looking at is like, one, the quality of the shot. Two, is there not this isn't usually said too much like out loud for some reason, but like if there's a clip, like say Deacon St. John is pointing the gun and his finger is going through the trigger for some reason, right? It's a video game. Sometimes that happens. Um, I won't necessarily share that. The rest of the image could be awesome, um, but I don't want to share something that has a detail that's missing like that. Um, just because it's the perspective of the game. I see this a lot with like Kratos and stuff, where his beard goes straight through his shoulder, um, which, like I said, the rest of the shot could be awesome, but that one detail, it bothers the hell out of me. Not gonna lie, it just it's like when I even personally when I get a shot and I missed it and I see it on my phone where something clipped, I won't share it at all just because like I just don't like it. Um,
I'm with you on that. I'm definitely
yeah,
with you on that. I employ other people I know who are really good at Photoshop to get rid of the clipping for me.
yes. And then like sometimes it's I'm looking almost like an ESRB rating where if it's a freaker with its head cut off as like the primarily focused and it could be the greatest shot in the world, unfortunately I'm not going to be able to share that. But if so it also depends on like how much gore and blood is in it, which Days Gone it can be very difficult, trust me. Um, so it's like little things like that I'll look at, or if it's a new virtual photographer that I'm not accustomed to, I will take a quick peek at your profile, because one, if we're retweeting something, I want to make sure that person has a good reputation. There's no craziness in the bio or in the last week or couple weeks of like some super negative thing, console war stuff. I'm
Yeah,
not that I won't, and it could be an awesome shot, but it we want to keep our community friendly, positive, inclusive. So things like that I will also look at.
exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, I have to say, the virtual photography community is probably one of the friendliest that I've
Yes.
had the pleasure of being into. But yeah, it's really handy to know that because I think, people sometimes get very disheartened if shots aren't retweeted or shared by, or they don't get noticed by a studio. But it's really interesting to understand the thought process that goes through it from a studio's perspective. You don't kind of realize how much you have to think about when sharing a shot.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
really interesting to know that.
There's a lot that sometimes it can be a simple retweet, but other times maybe it's not aligning with your strategic plan or a marketing beat, right? Or if a game isn't being made for years or something, maybe that studio isn't going to be shared because they're heads down on something else. So there's a lot of different reasons why maybe some studios, maybe like, oh man, I'm sharing stuff every day, and like, why aren't they liking it? Um, could be where they are just missing it, or it could be where teams have multiple community managers and they all have a different role, and some people are looking at photo mode more than others. So yeah, I would not I would not get discouraged if you don't get recognized from studio accounts, just because there's a lot of multiple factors into it. But as Bend, we try to acknowledge as most as we can for sure.
Yeah, and it kind of harks back to what we were talking about earlier. Is you're posting it for the love of it? Does it matter if
Exactly.
Ben shares it again? Doesn't matter if you get 1,000 likes. If you love that shot, you should be happy with it.
Yep.
It's difficult. Don't get me wrong. I think all of us are guilty of it sometimes if
Oh
shots
yeah.
don't do as well as they should do. But I think it's really important for people to remember that. And I know, it can have the potential to affect people's mental health. And I just think, just do what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
Yep.
It's honestly not worth the stress and time worrying about it. Especially now that we know those details as well from you. It's really, really interesting. I think that will help a lot of people who wonder why studios don't. So it's really interesting to know that.
Yep.
So I'm excited about this next question, and we couldn't have you on without asking about the awesome new Bend at Night feature. For those that don't know, can you explain a little bit about what the feature is and what was the driving force behind putting it together?
Yeah. Bend at Night is a new digital series, kind of where we're breaking down game development from the perspective of our developers. So the the experts in their fields. Our first episode was on environment art, so we had two people that came on and talked about their roles in environment art, their day-to-day responsibilities. Um, how does a game go from gray box to a polished game like Days Gone, where it's the beautiful mountains and things. Um, we have we have an episode coming out every month throughout the rest of this year. Our next one is design. We have a senior technical designer and a design supervisor on. So it's two different roles, but still in the design department. And that will come out in mid September. Um, and yeah, so uh, pretty much anything external that comes out is from my brain. um, I come up with a lot of ideas, and luckily with support of my leadership and stuff, they're always like, yeah, let's do it, let's go for it. So this one was kind of, it connects with our Ben Studio 30th anniversary this year, um, and it's also, I want to shed light on game development because for some reason it just doesn't get talked about, and from other studios from throughout the industry. And it's kind of like, why? So we're trying to be as transparent as we possibly can and give some nuggets and insights of like what these titles do. Like we see these titles, um, but we don't actually know what they do. And honestly, before I joined the studio, there are some of the titles I'm like, I have no idea what that person does. And
Yeah,
then coming in, it's like, oh, that's what they do. That makes a ton of sense. So yeah, just trying to shed a little bit more light into players because we social media, we get there's a lot of leaks that go on. There's a lot of misinformation, a lot of rumors, a lot of false information, so much false information. And then
sure.
that gets spread around, and sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's hard to stay quiet. So it's like, yeah, just shedding a light on game development from a studio as someone under PlayStation Studios.
Yeah, no, I found the first episode really interesting, and touching on what we were talking about earlier about people who want to follow into that industry and that kind of thing. It's also a good way to kind of see what each job role is. Is that something you want to get into, and kind of give people direction, but also knowing about what goes into it. We all drive around, whether it's Days Gone or Witcher or Spider-Man, but knowing what actually goes into it and how that's made, I don't think we realise sometimes how much work goes into a game.
Yep.
And I think
Game.
there's sometimes a lot of negativity from, a minority within communities, why games take so long or why there's bugs and things like that. But a lot of work and a lot of people work on these games. So I think it's really good to get an insight into what they do and what it entails. Very informative.
Yeah, game development is not easy, and with the technology nowadays, the technology, the budgets, the scope of the gaming industry, and how big it's become, it's it's going to take time, and there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that aren't shown publicly. Um, and maybe one day more light will be shed on that, on what studios do during these times where you're not releasing a game, but yeah, it's just there's so much that goes into it, and these, I can speak for our studio where like these people are heads down. They're so passionate about what they do. They're working their butts off every day, trying to make the best game possible, taking in community feedback, etc. But the video game industry is also a business, right? Like, if you want to keep playing games, it's a lot of these companies have to make money, and they have to create these games with certain expectations and things like that. So, yeah, game development is a very cool freaking job, but it's also like, hey, we're all just people, just trying to work and do our thing as well.
Exactly. And I think that's sometimes what people forget is whether it's game development or socials or anything, there are always people and humans behind it. And
Yep.
that's why, especially the virtual photography community, it's nice to see the amount of respect shown to those people. Don't get me wrong, there's always things you see which aren't, but everybody deserves respect. So it's
For
nice to
sure.
see more about the people who do the work and do the jobs to give us more of an insight and the people behind it. So no, great work, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. What date does the next episode drop?
To be determined, but it will be mid-September.
Perfect. We'll keep an eye out for it. So we've got one question left for any live questions. So we asked this question at the end of every one. So, what pearls of wisdom or advice? I know we've touched on a few so far, but what would be the one bit of advice you'd give to VPs, new and old, within the community?
Yeah, like you said, we touched on it. It's don't worry about numbers. That's my biggest advice. Numbers numbers are so temporary. They sure, they're cool to have. Everyone likes to have them, right? But honestly, at the end of the day, they mean absolutely nothing, because in 3 hours after you share, that post is already forgotten, right? Like,
Yeah,
and it's kind of disheartening, because like you take a lot of time, you share this, and then maybe not many people see it. But eventually, if you're doing it out of passion and you're doing it for the love, those numbers will eventually come, or more opportunities will eventually come for whatever you're looking for. But like I said, at the end of the day, those numbers, honestly, they just don't mean anything.
completely agree. And I think there's a very, very linear theme when we have this question. Everybody says exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
We
and
do it because we love it, don't we? That's the thing.
yeah, I mean, for example, I got this job, and when I got this job, I think my account was only at like 2,000 followers. I had articles written on the Days Gone blog that had maybe 10 likes on a post, right? So, and then I was able to land a job at Ben Studio. So, like, that right there shows where numbers don't matter. It shows that certain people who are looking at you may matter, right? Who you're being connected with, networked with, etc. But that person who gets 1,000 likes almost every day compared to the person who's getting 30 likes every day, uh, sure, maybe they get a free code every now and then, right? But me personally, I'm always looking after the little guy, because that's where I came from as well. So yeah, numbers. screw numbers.
Exactly. You know, like you said, if you have 1,000 likes, yeah, great. But if you have 10 likes and somebody notices you or it leads to something, what's more? What means more?
Yep.
It's no, completely agree with you. And yeah, everybody we've asked that question says exactly the same thing. That's good to hear that you're of the same mind. So now we've got live questions. So if anybody wants to ask a question live, we've got a request come in so far. So we got one from Cynthia. So Cynthia, let me just approve your request. Cynthia, can you hear us? Hey, Cynthia.
Hey, how are you?
Good,
Hi,
thank you.
Cynthia.
Good, thank you.
Hi, Kevin. I guess it's my turn.
What's your question, Cynthia? What's your question for
Well,
Kevin?
my problem is I started out having a specific question, but now I have like 15 more, but I'm not going to barrage you with 15 questions, I promise. Um, it's true. I guess my biggest question was when you first started this job, like what are some skills that maybe you felt like you needed to work on and improve on? Not VP wise, but like for your position at Bend. And how have you like built skills specifically for the job?
Yeah. I mean, one of those is graphic design.
Hmm.
We're a small team at Bend compared to a lot of PlayStation studios. So some of us put our hands in multiple things. And like I said earlier, I'm the community manager, but I'm also leading up our accessibility thing. So it's essentially two jobs, but I can combine them sometimes. So graphic design was one because we have one guy who's like our branding guy. He's the one that came up with the new Bed Studio logo. But to kind of help him out, I will go ahead and create some of our assets that will be shared publicly, and kind of learning that skill from him and seeing inspiration of how he goes about his branding has like been contagious, and now it's to me. So where like you may not notice the difference between an asset that's being shared now because my style is like his style, because he kind of like, just the way it works. So graphic design was a big one. It was one that I came in never using Photoshop in my life, and now I use it every
Hmm.
day.
Photoshop is great.
Yeah. Being able to cut videos and work in
Hmm.
Premiere Pro, that was another software I've never used in my life, and now I use it a lot. Um, and then the whole streaming is a whole nother beast, where it's like when I did it and I had 1 to 2 viewers on my personal account. Now I have to have this full production that I'm running right on Fridays when it comes to the
Wow.
software and the technical things. And so that was also another one. And then just like being in front of camera, that's one I've had to learn a lot. Public speaking is not my forte, but the past 2 years I have done more public speaking in my life. So that was the big one.
That's really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
And have you got another question, Cynthia? I know you said you have 15, but we'll let you have another one.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't want to take from other people here. I was just curious about this is more personal. When you mentioned you really like dark stories, because I'm a big dark story fan, but I don't want to get into a long discussion about specific things. So I'm not really gonna try to steer the conversation that way. But I just wanted to say I hear you on the dark stories. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Sometimes I question myself. I'm like, do I have an issue? But I'm glad
Yeah,
I'm glad other people are in the same boat as me.
no, I'm there.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of darkness.
Yeah,
A little
I'm
bit.
always rooting for the villain sometimes, like especially like The Walking Dead. If you watch that, Negan, literally one of my favorite
Yeah.
characters, and he literally beats people with a baseball bat. I'm like, what does that say about me?
I stopped watching in like season 5, so I'm terrible for that. But
it
Negan
there was a
pissed me off
couple
then, so
there was a couple slow seasons, but it did get a whole hell of a lot better the last ending seasons.
interesting. I should probably revisit it then.
I need to watch
Awesome.
any of it. I haven't watched any of it.
What?
I know, I know. I've not watched Walking Dead. I've not watched Game of Thrones. I'm well behind in all this
Where
stuff
have
that
you been?
Not watching Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. No,
I advise you to read Game of Thrones instead of watching it. At
yeah,
least the last few seasons.
yeah. No, I do like a good book. I do like a good book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do that first. Well, thanks for your question, Cynthia.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Now, is anybody else listening live that wants to ask Kevin a question? Put a request in now or forever hold your peace. We have got 13 questions on standby from Cynthia if nobody else asks any questions. Here we go. We've got Kelvin come on. Now, Kelvin, I'm going to say before you come on, you can't ask a question about Days Gone 2. We've said at the beginning already, we can't talk about anything game related that's in the process at Bend, but we'll approve your request. You might surprise us. Are you there, Kelvin? Kelvin? Kelvin's question was clearly Days Gone 2 related. There you are, Kelvin. How you doing?
Kelvin, I'm from Africa, Nigeria, West Africa. So.
You're very quiet there, Kelvin. What's your question for Kevin?
My question for him is that how does he get through so many other questions? Like, for example, the one that we're asking now. Like, how does he reply, like, the fans and try to keep things very orderly? Yeah.
Sorry, I was struggling to hear, Kelvin. You're very quiet.
Can you hear me now?
That's a lot better.
Okay. My question is that how does he keep cool most times when there's so many hard questions? Like you just said earlier that I can't ask questions about a particular thing. So that kind of stuff. How does he always like?
So are you saying do you get asked those questions a lot, and how do you deal with being asked those questions?
Yeah, I think that's what he was getting at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been just because of honestly experience being here for 2 years. When Days Gone PC launched, usually what happens around a launch is you will get media trained from PR, and what that entails is it's a couple-day workshop, a little hands-on experience, certain questions they will ask, and you got to come up with off the spot, and just being in front of the camera for the past 2 years, live streaming a lot. So it's pretty much this experience and getting comfortable in the situation, and honestly keeping in the back of my mind what's best for the studio.
That's great. That's great. Also listening to your voice right now, I think that's also a lesson for others to looking up to, like this, like a kind of standard today. So I'm grateful and just wanted you guys to know that we love you over there at Best Studio and can't wait to hear what you guys have for us.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for your question, Kelvin. Has anybody else got a question for Kevin? If not, I've got one more that I'm going to sneak in. Anybody else? No? Okay, I'm going to ask my question then, Kevin. So it's more of a favour, really. We're going to, TPM are going to be mixing it up and doing game-based quizzes on Spaces soon. We're putting in an idea together. Would you be able to provide us some Days Gone related questions and answers?
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly. We'll have a chat. We'll have a chat offline.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. I'll ping you a message. Yeah, we just want to. This season's nearly over. We're going to try something with some game quizzes, get people involved, get people talking to each other, and having a bit of fun. So yeah, nice. I'll drop you a message. See what we can sort out. But if nobody else has got another question, Kevin, it's been great to speak to you. Thank you so much for getting involved. I know you're a busy man, especially with work, and obviously it's the weekend as well. So thanks for joining us. It's been really interesting getting a bit of an insight into obviously yourself, a bit more about the stuff at Bend. But no, it's been really good to speak to you, man. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on. It was a lot of fun.
That's okay, no worries. But you have a good rest of your weekend. Have good fun with your family, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
All right, everyone. Stay awesome.
You too. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.